Hello children, hope you all fine. I am your science teacher. I welcome you to this video section of biology, lesson number 12, plant anatomy and plant physiology. Let's see this video and utilize it. Let's go to the video section.
Now we are going to see the Unit 1, Lesson number 12, Botany, Plant Anatomy and Plant Physiology. This lesson is based on full of botany. In this lesson, the learning objects are various types of tissue, dicot and monocot root, dicot and monocot stem, dicot and monocot leaf, structure of chloroplast, photosynthesis, mitochondria and its function. The last one is respiration. Let's move on to this lesson. Now we are going to see the plant anatomy. Plant anatomy is the study of inner organ of plants. It is established by the Neckman Crew. He is a father of plant anatomy. We all know that every organism is made up of millions of cells. Similarly, anatomy is a big level of organization. Plant exhibit various level of organization. First, atom, molecule, cells, tissue, organ system and organism. Now, first one, atom. Atom is the smallest part which is not able to divisible. Molecules are combined to form as the cell. Now, cells are give rise to tissues and tissues are give rise to organ and organ is give rise to organ system. An organ system develops to form a organism. What is mean by cell? Cell is a fundamental structural functional unit of all our life. Tissues gives rise to the organ. It is a structure to add together, perform the function. Now we are going to see the detailed explanation of the tissues. Now we are going to see the various types of tissues. There are two types of tissue. First one is a meristematic tissue and the second one is a permanent tissue. And the permanent tissue which have the simple tissue. Simple tissues have three types. One is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. The complex tissue which have the phylum and folium. What is mean by meristematic tissue? It is a plant tissue which have ability to divide the activity. It contains the living cell, no intracellular space and possesses a large nucleus. Permanent tissue. It has completed its growth, non-divide cell, specific function in plants. So, meristematic tissue is divisible the activity and permanent tissue is not divide cell. Permanent tissue is completed its growth, then only we will call as a permanent tissue. Now we are going to see the tissue system. It is introduced by the Sack in 1875. There are three types of tissue system. One is dermal and second one is ground and third one is vascular. Dermal is otherwise called as a epidermal tissue. In this picture you can able to see the three types of tissue like dermal, ground and vasculars. Here we are going to see the first tissue system is dermal or epidermal system. It consists of epidermis, stomata and epidermal outgrowth. Epidermal is the outermost layer. It has a minute pore that is called as a stomata. There are three functions of epidermal tissue. Epidermis protects the inner tissue. Stomata helps in transpiration. Root hair helps in absorption of water and minerals. In this picture, we can able to see the dermal tissues and cuticle and gases in and out, guard cell and sunlight in. And this is the epidermal tissue. Now we are going to see the second tissue system, that is ground tissue. Ground tissue helps in a plant growth. It is very useful for the growth of the plants. And this tissue includes the body except epidermal, vascular tissues like cortex, endodermis, pericycle, pith, and xylem and folium. Already you studied in 9th standard what is mean by xylem and what is mean by folium. Again I will be explaining you. Xylem contains water and folium contains food. Xylem, due to the photosynthesis, xylem and folium is used to transport the food and water to the all parts of the plants. The third one in tissue system is a vascular tissue. It consists of bundle. The bundle is called as a vascular bundle. Three types of vascular bundles are there. First one is a radial, second one is a conjoint, and third one is a concentric. This vascular tissue system also, xylem and folium tissue is present. They are present in the form of bundle, so it is called as a vascular bundle. I already told xylem contains water and mineral to different parts of the plant, and folium contains food material in the different parts of the plant. There are three different types of the vascular bundle. Okay, the first one is radical bundle. Radical bundle is a folium and a xylem are present in the different radii. Example, root. Conjoint bundle. Xylem and folium lies on the same radii. There are two types of conjoint bundle, collateral and bilateral. Now we are going to see the first type of vascular bundle, that is radical vascular bundle. Folium and xylem are arranged in the separate radicle. The components are arranged separately. It is found in the roots of monocot and dicot plants. Typically, vascular bundles are conjoint vascular bundles. In this, we are going to see the various types of conjoint vascular bundles. You can see in this picture two types of conjoint bundles. One is collateral and bilateral. One is closed, second one is open. You can see folium and xylem, inner cambium and inner fombium, and outer cambium and outer fombium is there in the bicollateral. In this picture, we are going to see how vascular bundles are arranged and how xylem and foliums are arranged together. Conjoint vascular bundles can see in leaves and stems of the plants. Folium and xylem are lie in the same radii. First, collateral. When cambium is present in collateral bundle, it is open. Example, dicot stem and collateral bundle without cambium is called closed. Example, monocot stem. Bicollateral. In this type bundle, folium is present in the both outer and the inner side of xylem. Now we are going to see the third type of vascular bundle, that is concentric vascular bundle, in which xylem completely surrounds a folium or folium is completely surrounds a xylem. It is called as a concentric vascular bundle. There are two types of concentric vascular bundle is Hampy-Vassal and Hampy-Frickle. Hampy-Vassal is a xylem surrounds folium. Example, Dreneca. And Hampy-Frickle, folium surrounds xylem. Example, ferns. And next one we are going to see end-arch and exarch. End-arch is photoxylem lies towards a center and metaxylem lies towards a periphery. Example, stem. Exarch is a photoxylem lies towards periphery and metaxylem lies towards the center. Example, root. Endarch and exarch is the opposite version. For example, photoxylem lies towards center means in endarch, photoxylem lies towards periphery. When metaxylem lies towards periphery, here metaxylem lies towards the center. The last two pictures you can able to see the concentric Hampy-Vassal and concentric Hampy-Frickle. Children, now we are going to see the anatomy of dicot and monocot roots. The first picture is dicot root and the second picture is a monocot root. In this lesson, we are going to see the internal structure of dicot root as example bean and internal structure of monocot root example maize. Now we are going to see the internal structure of monocot root. Example, maize. We will have the four types. One is epibymmala, cortex, endodermis, still, which have a three subdivision is pericycle, vascular tissue and pith. First we are going to see a epibymmala. It is the outermost layer of root and it is made up of a single thin walled parenchyma. In this, stomata and cutil are absent. The root hair helps the absorption of water and minerals because cutil, stomata are absent. So that's why hair helps in the absorption of water. And this layer is always protects the inner layer, cortex. Cortex is a multi-layer, a large zone, and this stores the water and the food material. Endodermis. It is an inner layer of cortex and characteristic Caspian spirit and Passage cell. The fourth one is stele. All the tissues inner to endodermis constitute stele and it includes the three subdivisions are pericycle, vascular tissue and pith. Pericycle is always a thin layer of a single walled cell and this pericycle lateral roots originate from this layer. Second one is a vascular tissue. It consists of many patches of xylem and folium. The xylem is exarch and polyarch and the conjugative tissue is made up of a sclerenchyma. The last one is pith. In this, pith is present in the center and this is made up of parenchyma cell with the intercellular space. It contains an abundant amount of starch grain and it stores the water. Now we are going to see the internal structure of dicot root. Example, bean. The same way monocot root, dicot root have the same types or following structures are epibla, cortex, endodermis and stele. Here also the stele have a three subdivisions are pericycle, vascular bundle and pith. First one, it is the outermost layer, cutil and stomatas are absent. That's why the root hairs are present. So it is known as a piliferous layer. The root hairs is always called as a piliferous layer. The second one is cortex. It is also the multi-layer large zone, thin-walled parenchyma cells. It stores food and water. The same way it is in the monocot root, dicot root also, it stores the food and water. Third one is endodermis. It is the innermost layer of cortex, is barrel shaped, closely packed and thickness of the radial and inner tangent walls is called as a Caprium spirit. The movement of water and the salt from the cortex into the xylem. Last style, all tissues inner to endodermis constitute style. It includes a pericycle and vascular bundle. First one is pericycle. Inner to endodermis lies single layer of pericycle, this site of origin of lateral roots. Second one is vascular bundle. In this vascular bundle, xylem is exarch and tetrarch. This tissue is present xylem and folium, so it is called as a conjugative tissue. In dicot root, it is made up of parenchyma. Pith. Only in the young root, pith is present. The old root, pith is absent. So, upgrowing plant, pith is present. In this picture, we are able to see the dicot root. First one is epidermis. The likewise, the simultaneous picture we will have a subdivision. Okay. First one is a epidermis. In dicot root, the second one is a root hairs. Epidermis and the root hairs. You can able to see the small pink color structures are there in the outer layer. That is called as a root hair. Children, you can able to see what is the cortex. The full area which is covered in the orange color, it is called as a cortex. In this dicot root, we can able to see endodermis. Pink circle. You can able to see children, that is a endodermis. And the next part is a pericycle. Children, you can able to see what is mean by pericycle. It always occurs between the vascular bundle and endodermis. It is a multi-layered parenchyma, patches of sclerenchyma. You can able to see pericycle. Now we are going to see the lateral root and vascular cambium. Lateral roots you can able to see, and vascular cambium curve shape. You have a curve shape, that is a vascular cambium. Now we are going to see the xylem and folium. You can able to see the xylem, the red color is xylem and the yellow color is folium. Xylem transport water and folium transport food. The next one is pith. The center part violet color, that is a pith. Pith is only in the young roots you will have a pith, and the old roots a pith is absent. While in monocot root, pith is present in the center. It is a monocot, so pith is present in the center. In this diagram, we can able to see the conjugative tissues. The conjugative tissues on the either sides violet color. Children, you can able to see this violet color, that is a conjugative tissue. Now we are going to see the vascular bundles, and already we seen as a pericycle also is there. So this is called as a vascular bundle. These vascular bundles are arranged in the form of ring round the pith is in dicot stem. But in dicot root, vascular bundles are made up of parenchyma. We are going to see dicot and monocot root. First is the monocot root and second one is the dicot root. This dicot root, we can see the labels like pericycle, vascular bundle, conjugative tissue, pith, xylem, folium. We already seen in the above picture. Now, the anatomy of same dicot and monocot. Some of the parts are same in a monocot as well as dicot. Epidermis, cortex, endodermis, vascular bundle and pericycle. These both are same in the monocot as well as dicot. In this we are going to see the internal structure of dicot stem. First one is epidermis and second one is cortex and third one is endodermis and fourth one is still. The first epidermis, it is the outermost layer and single layer of parenchyma cell and the outermost layer which is covered with a cutil. The internal structure of dicot stem as an example is a sunflower. And the cortex which have a three regions, one is hypodermis, second one is middle cortex and third one is a inner cortex. Hypodermis is consist of 3 to 6 layers of a collenchyma cell which gives a mechanical support to this cortex. And second one is a middle cortex. It is made up of few layers of collerenchyma cells. It involves in photosynthesis due to the presence of chloroplast. Third one is the inner cortex, which is made up of the few layers of parenchyma cells. It helps a gaseous exchange as well as storage of the food materials. Next one is endodermis. The innermost layer is called as the endodermis, which have a barrel shaped and contains a starch grain. So it is called as a starch sheath because it contains the starch grain. So it is called as a starch sheath. Steel. Central part of the stem is called as a stele. It consists of three subdivisions. One is pericycle, vascular bundle, pith. Pericycle occurs between a vascular bundle and endodermis. It is a multi-layered with alternative paths of a sclerenchyma. Vascular bundles are conjoined, collateral, end-arch are open. They are arranged in the ring around the pith. We already seen in the picture. Next one is pith. The large central parenchyma zone in intercellular space is called as a pith and pith is used to store the food materials. The internal structure of monocot stem we took as an example as a maize. Here also we have a three subdivision. One is epidermis, hypodermis and ground tissue. Epidermis is the outermost layer made up of a single layer of parenchyma. Hypodermis, it is a few layer of sclerenchyma and this parenchyma will support a mechanical support to the plant. Ground tissue. The entire mass of parenchyma cell next to hypodermis and extended to the center is called as a ground tissue. Then last one is a vascular bundle. This vascular bundle is a skull shaped scattered of the ground tissue. Vascular bundle of conjoined, collateral and enlarged and closed. So in this part we will have two subdivision. One is xylem, another one is folium. I already explained what a xylem function and folium function. In this, xylem consists of metaxylem and photoxylem. Xylem vessels are arranged in a V or Y shaped. So it is also called as a protoxylem lanceolate. Folium, it consists of a sieve tube elements. Folium, parenchyma, folium fiber are absent. Pith. Pith is not differentiated in a monocot stem, and you will have a difference between in a monocot as well as dicot stem. Now we are going to see the transverse section of monocot leaf. We will have reveal the following structure are epidermis, mesophyll and vascular bundle. Epidermis. Monocot leaf has upper and lower epidermis. Epidermis is made up of parenchyma cells. Cutil is present in the outermost wall. Stomata are present in the both upper and the lower epidermis. Mesophyll. You can able to see in the picture mesophyll. It is a ground tissue present in both epidermal layer. Mesophyll is not differentiated in palisade and spongy parenchyma. These cells are irregularly arranged and these cells contains chloroplast. The next one is vascular bundle. Large number of vascular bundles are present and some of which is small and some are large. Each vascular bundles are surrounded by parenchymatous bundle sheath and vascular bundle are conjoined, collateral and closed. Xylem is present towards upper epidermis and folium is present in the lower epidermis. In this picture, the first upper layer is cutil and next one the blepharious cell and third one is a upper epidermis and next one is mesophyll and the next one is bundle sheath, xylem, folium, lower epidermis and stomata. So xylem is folium. The xylem present towards upper epidermis you can able to see and folium present towards the lower epidermis. The same way we are going to see the transverse section of dicot leaf. Upper layer is cutil and then upper epidermis and polycyte tissue, xylem and sponge tissue, substominal chamber, stomata and lower epidermis. Cutil, it is a waxy covering. Upper epidermis, it is closely packed and rectangular shell and which has a chloroplast. Types of mesophyll. Mesophyll which have the two types, one is a palisade parenchyma and next one is a spongy parenchyma. Palisade parenchyma, it is found in the upper epidermis and it is able to have elongated cells. And these cells which have a more chloroplast which takes part in the photosynthesis also. Spongy parenchyma, it's found below the palisade parenchyma tissue. Cells are almost spherical, irregularly arranged and even it is not in spherical, even it is also in a oval shape. Cells have an intracellular space which helps in a gaseous exchange. And next is a vascular bundles. Vascular bundles are conjoined, collateral and closed. Each vascular bundles are sheath of parenchymatous cell called bundle sheath. Each vascular bundle consists of xylem lying towards upper epidermis and folium lying towards a lower epidermis. I already shown in the picture, xylem it is in upper epidermis and folium is in the lower epidermis. This is surrounded by parenchyma cells. Okay. In this we are going to see the difference between the dicot and monocot leaf. Dicot is always a dorsiventral leaf and monocot is a isobilateral leaf. Mesophile is differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma. Mesophile is not differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma. These are the two differences between a dicot leaf as well as monocot leaf. The next we are going to see the structure of chloroplast. What is meant by chloroplast? It is a green plastis containing green pigment. It is called as a chlorophyll. Chloroplasts are oval shaped organelle having a diameter 2 to 10 mm and the thickness is 1 to 2 micrometer. Now we are going to see the detailed explanation and the picture of the chloroplast. Now we are going to see the chloroplast structure. You can able to see the inner part is a chloroplast. It is a chloroplast structure and you'll have so many parts are there: ribosomes, chloroplast DNA, drops of lipids, stroma. In another picture, we are going to see the ultrastructure of chloroplast. Now we are going to see the ultrastructure of chloroplast. You can see the inner membrane, outer membrane and sugar molecules. First, envelope. Chloroplast envelope have inner and the outer membrane which is separated by intermembrane space. Stroma. Matrix present inside to the membrane, it's called stroma. It contains DNA and 70 ribosomes and other molecules. Thylakoids. It contains the thylakoid membrane enclose the thylakoid lumen. Grana. Some thylakoids are arranged in the form of disc stacked one above the other. And this membrane lame is otherwise called as a Fritz channel. Now we are going to see the function of chloroplast. There are 5 functions. First is photosynthesis. Second one is storage of starch. Third one is synthesis of fatty acids. Fourth one is storage of lipids. Fifth, formation of chloroplast. These are the function of chloroplast. Now we are going to see photosynthesis and its chemical reaction. From the lower class onwards, we learned what is meant by photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process which plants prepare their own food with the help of sunlight as well as chlorophyll pigment. Now we are going to see the chemical reaction and the role of photosynthesis. What is role of photosynthesis? The entire process of photosynthesis takes place inside the chloroplast. The structure of chloroplast in such light dependent and light independent reactions takes place. So next one is light dependent and light independent reaction. Light dependent photosynthesis is otherwise called as a Hill reaction. Light independent reaction is otherwise called as a biosynthetic reaction. This is the process of photosynthesis. There are 2 types. I already told you, dependent reaction and independent reaction. That is light dependent and light independent. Light reaction or photochemical reaction or a Hill reaction is called as a light dependent reaction. Dark reaction or Calvin cycle or biosynthetic reaction is called as a light independent reactors. Light reaction or a Hill reaction discovered by Hill and takes place in the presence of light. So it is called as a light dependent reaction. These are the following steps of light reaction. First one is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll, photolysis of water, reduction of NADP and photoprosylation. Here you can able to see the NADPH and ATP. In the presence of sunlight, we can prepare the starch with the light reaction. With the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, the light reaction takes place. And this reaction, photosynthetic pigment absorb light energy, convert into chemical energy as a ATP and NADPH2. These products of high light reaction move out from the thylakoid to stroma of the chloroplast. Now we are going to see the chemical equation of photosynthesis. The carbon dioxide plus water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll pigment. The chlorophyll pigment which comes from the green color plants. In this picture, we can able to see the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a pigment which is green in color. It's obtained from the plants and in the presence of sunlight. Photosynthesis which needs sunlight as well as chlorophyll pigment. Then only photosynthesis takes place. Without sunlight, without chlorophyll, photosynthesis does not takes place. 6 molecules of CO2 and 6 molecules of water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll pigment, we will get C6H12O6. This is the chemical equation of photosynthesis. Next, we are going to see the factors affecting photosynthesis. There are the two factors which affects a photosynthesis. One is internal factors and next one is a external factor. Internal factor, there are four factors: pigment, leaf age, accumulation of carbohydrates and hormones. The lacking of all these which affects the photosynthesis. And next factor is external factor: light, carbon dioxide, temperature, water and mineral elements. Due to the lack of the sunlight or carbon dioxide, temperature, water and mineral element affects the photosynthesis, and these are the two effects of photosynthesis. Now we are going to see about C.N. Rao. He is an Indian scientist who conferred the Bharat Ratna 2013, is also working in a similar technology of artificial photosynthesis. An artificial photosynthesis is a method for producing the renewable energy by the use of sunlight. And he also produced a hydrogen fuel as a renewable energy. The next one is Melvin Kavlin. He is an American biochemist, discovered the chemical pathway for photosynthesis. The cycle is named as a Calvin cycle. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in the year of 1965 for his discovery. The next chapter is mitochondria and structure and functions of mitochondria. Mitochondria is a filamental or a granule cytoplasmic organelle present in the cell. Mitochondria is discovered by, that is, first a scientist who is discovered it, Kolliker in 1857. And mitochondria are organelle within the eukaryotic cell that produce a triphosphate, that is ATP, which forms the energy currency of cell. And mitochondria is otherwise called as a powerhouse of the cell. Next is the structure of mitochondria. Mitochondrial membrane. It consists of two membranes, inner and the outer membrane. Next picture you can see the outer membrane of mitochondria. It is the structure of mitochondria. You can able to see the outer membrane. This is the outer membrane of mitochondria. And then next we are going to see the inner membrane of mitochondria. Children, you can able to see the inner membrane of mitochondria. The above picture I showed you the outer membrane, and this is the inner membrane of mitochondria. Outer mitochondrial membrane is smooth, freely permeable to make a small molecule, and outer membrane which contain enzyme, protein and lipids. Inner mitochondrial membrane is a semi-permeable membrane and regulates the passage of material into and out of the mitochondria. It is rich in enzymes and carries a protein. It consists of 80% of proteins and lipids. Functions of mitochondria. Mitochondria is a main organelle of cell respiration. So it produces a large number of ATP molecule, and I already told you it is a powerhouse of the cell or ATP factory of the cell. Whether we will call as a powerhouse or ATP factory of the cell. And it is also helps to maintain the normal concentration of the calcium ion. and also regulates the metabolic activity of the cell. That's why it is called as a powerhouse of the cell. Types of respiration. Even though plants will respire, we have two types of respiration. First one is aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, and the last one is a respiration quotient. Respiration involves exchange of gases between organism and internal environment. Plants obtain oxygen from their environment and release the carbon dioxide and water vapor. And this exchange of gas is called as a external respiration. And this is a physical process. Biochemical process occurs in the cell where food is oxidized to obtain the energy, and this is known as a cellular respiration. First type is aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration is a type of cellular respiration which organic food is completely oxidized with the help of oxygen into carbon dioxide, water and energy. It occurs most in plants and animals. It is called as a aerobic respiration. Now we are going to see aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration, oxygen takes place, and anaerobic respiration, oxygen does not takes place. These are one main difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. And anaerobic respiration. This anaerobic respiration takes place without oxygen. Glucose is converted into ethanol in plants. And then we can able to see the equation C6H12O6, which gives two molecules of carbon dioxide and 2 molecules of ethanol plus energy as a ATP. Stages of aerobic respiration. First is glycolysis, that is glucose splitting. It is a breakdown of one molecule of glucose, that is 6 carbon, into 2 molecule of puric acid, that is 3 carbon. Glycolysis takes place in cytoplasm of the cell. It is the first step of both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. You can able to see this diagram. 6 molecules of carbon which divides into 3 molecules of carbon. This is the first stage of aerobic respiration, that is glycolysis. Second stage of aerobic respiration is a Krebs cycle. Otherwise, it is called as a citric acid cycle and tricarboxylic acid, TCA. This cycle occurs in a mitochondria matrix. At the end of glycolysis, 2 molecules of puric acid enter into mitochondria. The oxidation of puric acid into carbon dioxide and water takes place through this cycle. And water takes place through this cycle, so it is called as a tricarbocyclic acid cycle, that is TCA. NADH and FADH2, it's reduced to form a phenyladenine also formed. This is the second stage of Krebs cycle. The last stage is electrons transport chain. This is accumulated through a system of electron carrier complex, so it is called as the electron transport chain, ETC. These are the abbreviation of this electrons transport chain, so it is an important market, and it is located the inner membrane of mitochondria. NADH2 and FADH2 molecules formed during the glycolysis and Krebs cycle, and it is oxidated to NAD plus and FAD plus to release the electrons, and these electrons are moved through the system and release the energy that trapped by ADP to synthesize to ATP. It is called as the oxidative phosphorylation. In this process, oxygen, ultimate acceptor of electrons, gets reduced to water. The last topic is respiratory quotient. Respiratory quotient is a ratio of volume of carbon dioxide is liberated and the volume of oxygen consumed during respiration. It is expressed as a volume of carbon dioxide liberated divided by volume of oxygen consumed. This is expressed as RQ, that is respiratory quotient. Our plant anatomy and plant physiology gets over. I think you can able to understand all the subdivision which I taught you. What is mean by tissue and what is mean by various types of tissues, and monocot, dicot, stem and leaf and root. What is mean by photosynthesis, what is mean by chloroplast, and what is mean by mitochondria. All the topics which I've seen, just revise, go through all the topics, and the last topic is respiration. Here comes next term. You'll have a question and the answer key of the plant anatomy and plant physiology lesson. Thank you, children.